Hi, my name's Emily Endicott, and this is my visual research project. This project was a journey for me in various facets, and I really recognized that there were two key concepts that kept coming up, that of mindfulness and lifelong learning. I discovered in Unit 1 of Identity that part of my identity is highly situated in those mindful moments and noticing things and taking the time to stop, whether it be on a trail or just goofy things with friends. And then to extend this into cross-curricular content, I noticed that everything that I was seeing could be translated to mathematics instruction, and all the shapes you see, the angles of the trees, the spherical shapes of the blueberries, the architecture of buildings, the lines that you see. And even in nature, you see it in the way that the rocks are structured, the directions that the trees point. Through these observations and reflections, I found out what I noticed, which informed my identity. These noticings were expanded upon as that little snail I now see as a possible seed idea for a lesson on Fibonacci sequence and patterns in nature, which brings us to the second unit of relationships through the realm of science. Relationships are everywhere, and it's not always in the traditional sense of just a human-to-human interaction, but in human-to-environment interactions and interactions with tools, interactions with older individuals, with peers, with younger individuals, human-to-animal interactions, animal-to-animal interactions, so on and so forth. Everything is incredibly interrelated, and as I was doing this project, I came to realize this more and more so. Even something like the Jenga block could be translated into a science activity as students try to understand how the blocks fit together and how they are stacked to make a tower. Something like this, the relationship between the chocolate and strawberries, the relationship between the burner and the water and how that boiling does form, the relationships between weather and all of these different changes. It was at this point in the project that I realized I was really focused on the process and not the end goal, and that's what it should be, just one step at a time. The third unit is that of stories from the perspective of English language arts. Stories come in many forms, whether that's an exchange or a creative outlet, such as this music board. Stories can stem from something like an object or a sign that reminds us of a certain memory. Stories help define who we are, what we've experienced, and how we now see and approach the world. Stories offer avenues for expression, which are informed by our perceptions, and everyone's going to have a different reaction to this photo based on their perceptions, their identity, the relationships they have. Something like the rain dripping off of the deck I grew up in reminds me of so many stories of my childhood. The wonderful deviled eggs. Everyone has individual stories that they bring. Stories can be literal, just as stepping off the 7th floor of this elevator, or they can be more creative, like my mom's pretty vague Easter egg hunt. They can also be the socks that your pampa got you because he didn't know what else you'd want. And now I have a silly sock story. We all have stories, and it's important to take the time to get to know them. English language arts offers students a very accessible entry point for sharing their stories, as this can be done in a variety of ways. Which brings me to Unit 4, celebrations, looking through the lens of social studies. Celebrations happen anywhere, anytime, and with anyone. Celebrations can be something like Special Olympics, taking the time to appreciate the hard work of others, or celebrating a birthday with a group of like-minded people. It can be something as simple as some dance moves. Regardless, the celebrations that we choose are informed by our identity, our reality, our relationships, and our stories. Our celebrations are socially and culturally situated. It's important to recognize the differences in celebrations of different people. I choose to celebrate the mindfulness of the moment, like a lava lamp doing its groovy dancing, or a concert with my parents. Who I am, the culture I'm a part of, the communities I'm a part of, all inform these celebrations. and would be great to translate into social studies instruction to get to know your kids better and to understand the diverse backgrounds from which all of them come, and that they each have a unique perspective that can be valued in the classroom. As this project evidenced to me, visual arts integration enhances instruction as content is put into accessible and multimodal contexts. This project allowed me to understand and appreciate myself and my life and realize how intertwined all of these concepts are. I want my students to begin thinking beyond their scope of comfort, as to open their eyes to what's truly around them, invoking mindfulness and empathy. I will utilize these instructional approaches to increase relatability, engagement, motivation, and achievement for my students. I hope to instill in my students a focus on the process and being a lifelong learner. Through this visual research project, I was able to celebrate my identity, my relationships, and the stories that I have and will continue to make. I hope to instill in my students this same love for life and learning, enjoying the presence of others, and really taking the time to stop and appreciate everything and everyone around you. So let the journeys continue.